You ever stop and wonder what actually keeps a country running, day in and day out? I mean, it's not just the big headlines or the major policy decisions you see on the news. Underneath all of that, there's this huge, unseen machine, kind of like an operating system. And it's made up of thousands of rules and procedures that dictate, well, everything. Today, we're going to pull back that curtain and take a look at the machine itself.
And really, that's the big question, isn't it? What exactly are these rules? How do they end up shaping the lives of millions of public servants, and by extension, all of us? Okay, let's dive right in.
So, to get our heads around this massive system, we're going to do something a little different. We're going to follow the career of a fictional civil servant. Let's call her Anjali. We'll be there on her very first day and stick with her as she learns all the rules that are going to define her entire professional life. We'll cover everything from her daily duties, accountability, to her salary and perks, and even what happens when she retires.
Right, so let's start at the very beginning. Think of all these rules as the government's source code. They're meticulously designed to make sure that the entire engine runs smoothly, fairly, and consistently, no matter who's sitting in the big chair. Now, I know the word bureaucracy gets a pretty bad rap, right? We think of endless paperwork and delays. But at its heart, it's really just this framework. It's the essential operating system built to prevent chaos and make sure everybody is treated according to the same standard. And this is the world Anjali is about to step into. So picture this. It's Anjali's first day. She's a brand new lower division clerk, walking into her office for the very first time. She's excited, she's ready to work, but before she can do anything, she has to learn the language of the system. And we're going to learn it right there with her.
One of the first things Anjali's supervisor tells her is absolutely crucial. Not all rules are created equal. Just like in the Army, there's a clear chain of command for regulations. And understanding this hierarchy, well, that's fundamental to getting her job done right.
Her supervisor even gives her this super handy little mnemonic to remember it all. Think of it this way. Statutes are for the big, strong policy decisions. Ordinances are for operational matters. And regulations, those are for the routine, day-to-day procedures. This simple phrase is basically her key to decoding the entire rulebook.
And one of the very first rules she learns is about ethics. See this number? 7,500 rupees. That's the absolute maximum value of a customary gift that she, as a Group C employee, can accept at something like a wedding. So yeah, from day one, the rules are incredibly specific to keep everything above board. And then, of course, there's the whole work-life balance thing. Anjali gets a full rundown of her leave. She learns that earned leave, or EL, is the one she can save up for a big vacation. Casual leave, or CL, that's for short, unexpected things, and it doesn't carry over. And then you got half-pay leave, mostly for medical stuff. Knowing the difference is going to be critical for her to plan her life.
So as Anjali starts to get the hang of her job, she realizes pretty quickly that this system isn't just about her rights and her leave. It's really about her responsibilities to the public. The rules create this two-way street of accountability.
Then one morning, a request filed under the Right to Information Act lands on her desk. A citizen is asking for some data. And suddenly, Anjali isn't just a clerk processing files. She is now the face of government transparency. And a very, very real clock has just started ticking.
30 days. That's the standard time limit. Anjali has exactly 1 month to provide the information that was asked for. It's a direct, legally binding responsibility. The pressure is on.
But then she learns about a critical exception. If that information request concerns someone's life or liberty, that 30-day window, it shrinks to just 48 hours. And that right there shows you the real gravity of her role. The whole system is literally built to prioritize human life over bureaucratic process.
So we've seen how Anjali is held accountable to the public. But what happens if an employee is the one who breaks the rules? Well, accountability flows both ways. The system has some really robust procedures for holding its own people accountable for their conduct.
If someone is accused of serious misconduct, it's not some arbitrary decision. There's a formal, multi-step process. It all starts with an official charge sheet. Then the employee gets time to submit a written reply. After that, a formal inquiry is held before any final decision is made. The whole thing is designed to be methodical and fair, making sure everyone gets a just hearing.
All right, let's shift gears and talk about what keeps Anjali and millions of others motivated. The compensation. A government job is famous for being stable, and that stability is built on a very structured system of pay and benefits.
A huge chunk of her salary isn't just her basic pay, it's all these different allowances.
Take the house rent allowance, or HRA. It's calculated as a percentage of her basic pay, and it completely depends on where she lives. It can be as high as 27% in a big metro city, but it drops all the way to 9% in a smaller town.
And what about this number, 58%? This is the projected dearness allowance. The easiest way to think about this is as an automatic pay raise that's designed to fight inflation. It gets added to her salary to make sure that her money has the same buying power, even as the cost of living goes up. Pretty smart, right?
And beyond the monthly paycheck, there are some really significant perks. A big one is the Leave Travel Concession. This basically lets Anjali and her family get their travel costs covered for trips inside India. In every 4-year block, she gets 1 trip to her hometown and 1 trip to anywhere else in the country.
Okay, so let's fast forward. Years have passed, and Anjali is now a senior, seasoned employee. The final piece of the government's operating system she needs to master is the one that's all about securing her future, her retirement.
So here's the deal. After she's put in a minimum of 10 years of service, Anjali is entitled to a pension. The formula is actually pretty straightforward. It's 50% of her last drawn salary. This gives her a guaranteed income for the rest of her life, which is really the cornerstone of financial security for government employees.
But here's where things get really interesting. Because Anjali joined after 2004, she's actually under the new pension scheme, or NPS. Now, her senior colleagues, their pensions are a guaranteed payout from the government. But Anjali's pension is tied to the performance of the market. Both she and the government contribute to her retirement fund. It's a huge shift in policy, really, designed to manage the government's finances for the long haul.
And then, on her very last day of service, Anjali gets another major benefit, a gratuity. This is a big lump sum, tax-free payment. It can go up to 20 lakh rupees. Think of it as a final thank you for a lifetime of dedicated service to the nation.
So, after following Anjali's entire career, from her first day to her last, we come back to this incredibly complex web of rules we've just walked through. Is it a shield that guarantees fairness and accountability for everyone involved, or has it become a cage of red tape that just slows everything down? The real answer, as with most things this big, probably lies somewhere in the middle.